Hello and welcome to Red Gaming Tech. My name is Marta. Today is the 2nd of August and this time I have some news for you regarding Gearbox and Aliens Colonial Marines, as we have a little bit of an update regarding the class action lawsuit which was filed against both Gearbox and Sega, which of course did allege that Aliens Colonial Marines was falsely advertised, and that of course the E3 demo basically was as far removed from the actual release as you could possibly get. Now, as you guys probably know, both Gearbox and Sega have sought to fight this lawsuit, and now Gearbox has filed a motion basically saying exactly why the accusations are baseless and that they should even be removed from the lawsuit entirely. And one of the more interesting reasonings from Gearbox is that apparently they sunk millions of dollars of its own capital into the game's development. And this was written by the Gearbox Vice President of Marketing, Steve Gibson, which was filed on the 30th of July, saying, quote, "During the development process, Gearbox supplemented Sega's development budget with its own money to help Sega finish its game. Gearbox's contributions to ACM totaled millions, none of which was ever repaid. Gearbox never received money from Sega ACM purchasers, nor has Gearbox received a single royalty from any sales by Sega." Then they went on to say that basically, well, the sales of the game was small enough, they didn't receive any bonuses from Sega, and they only made money from the milestone payments to basically fund the project for its development. And Gibson again stated, quote, "Gearbox only received the milestone payments made by Sega during the game's development. Those milestone payments were preset before any games were sold, and the milestone payments to Gearbox were not tied to the number of units of the game that Sega ultimately sold." And then he went on to note that Gearbox was basically doing a work-for-hire project with Sega at the helm, and that they had basically no say or no responsibility of how the game was being marketed. And then they went on to claim that Sega was satisfied with the project as it was being developed. And then Gibson went on to say, quote, "Sega approved every milestone submission from Gearbox throughout ACM's development. Gearbox eventually completed and delivered the software in accordance with Sega's specifications, which Sega vetted, approved and accepted." And then they went even on to try and basically say that the speculation that the pre-release footage, the notorious E3 footage, was developed in a different engine, they went on to say that that was completely unfounded, and they were adamant that the Unreal Engine was only used through the development of Aliens Colonial Marines. And there's one very interesting thing which is getting very deep into legalities, which I can't really speculate on as I just don't know copyright law, US law, whatever. And that's basically that Gearbox's attorneys think that the suit itself doesn't merit the requirements to maintain a class action suit. And supposedly the main reason for this is that it's impossible to know how many users even saw the press demos that allegedly led to game sales. And this is from Gearbox's attorney this time, saying, quote, "The plaintiff's proposed class is impermissibly overbroad because it includes a putative class members who were never exposed to and who therefore never viewed the allegedly misleading game demonstrations in which the class-wide claims are premised. The plaintiff's net was cast too wide. Worse still, those customers who were satisfied by the video game would be swept into the plaintiff's proposed class." Oh dear, this is a pretty bad case of he said, she said rather. And to be honest, arguing that you don't know how many people viewed the demo is, well, I really hope that doesn't work, because that is such a pile of shite. I'm sorry, but it is. Come on now. It was at E3. All you would have to do is go back and look at the figures for the stream at that point and say it at least had X amount of viewers. And I'm sorry, but Aliens Colonial Marines was a colossal fucking mess. And I don't think there are many players who were satisfied with that release. So you can't even say that, well, there were people who are satisfied with the release that are being grouped in with the people who weren't. Are there any people who are satisfied with the release? I think you'd be hard-pressed to find many, to be honest with you. It is unequivocally a fucking disaster area, and to be honest with you, it does seem a little bit like Gearbox are just trying to avoid taking responsibility. You can argue that maybe they didn't have anything to do with how it was being marketed, but they did have something to do with the development, so they still made a god-awful game. And now Sega should definitely take responsibility for the mismarketing. However, it still was Gearbox's job to provide a good game. Saying that that Sega vetted it doesn't make it okay. I'm sorry, but it doesn't. Again, I don't know US law, so I can't go into the legality side of it. If any of you have any insight, then please let me know. But it just seems to me that Gearbox are just trying to shirk responsibility, if I'm completely honest. They are generally a good developer. Of course, they've made Borderlands and Borderlands 2, and obviously those are really, really good games. They definitely know what they're doing, so I'm not going to hold it against them. They made one bad game, but they should at least admit their part in the whole mess. And it doesn't seem like they're willing to at the moment. Anyway, that is me done for this video, but do let me know your thoughts below in the comments, and I'll see you next time.